at the end of the day, I just want it to open a lot of people's eyes as far as the opportunities that are out there, whether it be on a part-time basis or a full-time basis, or you're looking for a career change. We don't know what you don't know, and life is all about evolution, right? What you're doing today may not be what you're doing tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And so this career has opened up so many opportunities to meeting wonderful people. My clients that I serve have become my family, and it's way more than Medicare.
Yeah.
It's so much more. I don't just help people find a plan. I also help them get the resources that they need so that their life becomes a little more comfortable.
Right. Hey everyone, and welcome to Sounds of Health. This is the show where we uncover inspiring stories, meet incredible people, and share valuable resources to help you boost your physical, emotional, and financial well-being. I'm your host, David MacNiven, and today we have a very special episode with a very special guest, my good friend, Jesslyn Pito. Jess is the owner of JP Maven Insurance Benefits, and she, like me, is an independent health insurance agent specializing in Medicare. It has been a pleasure for me to grow my agency alongside hers, and I'm really excited to have her here today. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you for having me, David.
Of
course.
Happy
to be here.
I know how busy you are, so I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know how busy we all are,
That's
but
right.
you especially.
I don't know about that, but
yeah. So you and I kind of came up in the business together,
yes.
And I think we hit it off right away. You have been such a huge resource for me as I've grown my business, and I just appreciate all that you do. It's nice knowing that there are so many agents out there in our sphere alone that are out there really helping people to navigate this crazy world of Medicare, but also to make things easier and to hopefully impact other people's lives in a very positive way.
I would agree. I am completely blessed and so grateful for your friendship and your business partnership. And I come from a network marketing background. And when you're in a company situation, most people would look at it as competition, or some people are not willing to share ideas. And
Right.
I'm not wired that way. So when you surround yourself by people who lift you up versus, knocking you down, it just makes the world of difference. And so with what we do, it very much is similar to a network marketing situation. You and I are agency owners, but yet we can also operate independently. And when you're in business for yourself, it sometimes feels like you're in business by yourself. But
Absolutely.
When you're able to surround yourself with amazing individuals like you, and we just share ideas, we collaborate together. Yeah, we're not on the same team technically, but we still work together. And,
Right.
and that I love the experience. And so thank you. I have a lot to be grateful to you for. So
Thank you. I think people would be surprised at the level of camaraderie we all feel with each other. I mean, even just the industry as a whole. You're about to go out to a big event in Vegas called Medicarians. I was there last year. Mm-hmm. I know my experience even going to industry events is there's always going to be people that are there doing this business for the wrong reasons, but there are so many people doing it for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to see.
Yeah, and I'm always I'm a nurturer at heart. My very first job out of college was I went to college to be an X-ray tech, and I did that for 16 years.
Yeah.
And I'm just wired to have a servant's heart. And I guess my message to a lot of people today is and maybe parents don't want to hear this, but what your kids go to college for may not necessarily be the end all be all as far as careers are concerned, because this is not what I went to school for, but I love the medical field. And so I started out as an X-ray tech, and then I was becoming inspirationally dissatisfied because the harder I worked, my boss seemed to be getting my raise. So I moved into the network marketing industry where I sort of was in control as to how much I wanted to earn. And I was still able to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
Because you might look at it as sales. Sales can be a dirty word, But when you do it from the right place with a servant's heart, it's all about serving and helping solve a problem. You're not pushing product.
Right.
And so I never considered myself to be a salesperson, but technically, I guess that's the umbrella that we fall under.
It absolutely is.
And then after network marketing, I had a few personal, tragedies in my life. My mother passed away from pancreatic cancer, so I will be forever grateful for my experience in network marketing because it allowed me the time freedom instead of having to ask a boss for time off.
Right.
I took the time that I needed when I needed it. And so I was able to help my mother transition from the physical world to the spiritual world when she passed away. And I'll be grateful for that experience.
Such a gift.
It is a gift and not something to be taken for granted. Time is everything, right?
Of course, yeah.
And you can't get it back. And so my network marketing company had moved. They had to restructure their compensation plan. I get it. You have to do what you have to do to keep the doors open. But at the same time, I'm not going to work 4 times harder to get back to where I was.
Of course. Yeah.
So I felt a need to get back into the medical field in some capacity. I actually researched getting my x-ray license back. And then I was like, I don't want to go through this all over again. I'm too old for this. No, I'm not. But anyway, so my son was the one that said, why don't you just go get your life and health insurance license? And so something in the back of my head was toying, get into the Medicare space. And because back in my x-ray days, I was also the receptionist. And so often, the senior population would come in first thing in the morning for their fasting blood work. And they would share how they were so confused over Medicare. And unfortunately, in that space, people pass, their spouses pass away, kids move away, and they had no one in their life to help them navigate this complicated journey that it doesn't have to be complicated. And so, I pride myself as much as you on simplifying the process and helping people take, the step-by-step approach. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much about your story and what you've been through. It just aligns so well with everything that I've experienced and done as well. But I think you hit on it completely. No matter what you do in life, if you have a service heart, if you're being of service to other people, it not only, I think it enhances the opportunity for you, but it also it does so much for your well-being as well, knowing that you're helping to make a positive difference in the lives of others.
Right.
And I think that's so important. And then I always tell the joke to our listeners, anybody who's listened to every episode of this podcast has probably heard me say it all the time, that no one ever says that they want to be an insurance agent when they grow up. And, I was an actor out of school. I worked in nonprofit for about a decade or so. And then, someone mentioned Medicare to me, my good friend Scott Burney, who said, I think you'd be good at this. And I'd never really considered it. But the world of Medicare, when I kind of went and shadowed him, and even just the first day that I was introduced to what he was doing, and this was as a captive agent for a big insurance company here in Connecticut, it was still nice to see that, it was a sales position, like you said, but it's not. It's more of an advising capacity. It's more of really answering questions and simplifying information, which is something that I've done throughout my career is, trying to interpret things for an audience or for another person. And it's really, Medicare is such a great business because we're allowed to do that. We're allowed to really, get paid by the insurance companies, but work in the best interest of our clients.
Correct.
So I know you and I have always kind of aligned in that way.
It's the only way I know.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that's great. And I think the other thing too is a lot of people don't realize what the opportunity here is in health insurance, in Medicare. So you and I are going to be hosting an event together and providing information on what that opportunity looks like to get involved in Medicare, get involved with one of our insurance agencies, possibly, set yourself on a new path or take an existing license you already have and move in a new direction with us. So I'm excited for that event and to do that together.
I am as well. I at the end of the day, I just want it to open a lot of people's eyes as far as the opportunities that are out there, whether it be on a part-time basis or a full-time basis, or you're looking for a career change. We don't know what you don't know, and life is all about evolution, right? What you're doing today may not be what you're doing tomorrow. And so this career has opened up so many opportunities to meeting wonderful people. You know, my clients that I serve have become my family, and it's way more than Medicare.
Yeah.
It's so much more. You know, I don't just help people find a plan. I also help them get the resources that they need so that their life becomes a little more comfortable.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole idea behind this podcast, is we want to highlight what those resources are, what those people are, so that people can be more aware of all of the great things that are out there for them.
Right. So I'm looking forward to the event.
Yeah.
You know, it's Wednesday, April 9th at 6:00 at Viron Rondo in Cheshire.
Yeah.
And it's just all about opening people's eyes to the opportunity. And, you know, yes, you know, we get paid a commission.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that we get paid the same commission no matter what plan I put you on. So
Right.
I come from that place of service, finding the opportunity, you know, the best plan for you. I'm not going to put you on a plan that has a higher commission. There is no such thing in this space.
Yeah. Very true.
And so that's where we really get to lead from helping people authentically.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Our services are free of charge to our clients, which is really a nice thing to be able to offer our guidance and our knowledge to help them to navigate something that is really confusing to them and changing all the time.
Right. And I just want to add too, you know, in every career, there's bad apples, right?
Of course. Yes.
And so, you know, David and I are not going to be the ones that are calling you from a 1-800 number. Or you're
That's
not
true.
going to see a TV ad with a famous paid actor. We don't operate that way. In fact, you know, you and I have built such amazing businesses that we probably wouldn't have to advertise. And we do very well because our clients are the ones that advertise for us because of the great job that we've done for them.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, public service announcement, you know, Medicare will never call you. Social Security will never call you. They're not going to ask for your ID card. So I don't know how much more I have to stress the fact there are scammers that are making a living scamming you. So please be careful who you give your information to.
Right, for sure. And that's something also that being in this space really helps us to be aware of what those scams are, because we hear from our clients. And so we stay up to date on those things that are out there so that we can help people to understand and navigate. Don't pick up the phone if you don't know who's calling. Don't give your personal information over the phone to just anybody. There's too many people out there trying to take advantage.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a scary world. And I think it's important to have people that you trust so that when you call one of our numbers, you know that it's us or our assistants picking up the phone. You know that if you're getting a call from us, you're going to talk to us. And I think that just puts people's mind at ease about, you know, the information that we're able to share and that they have somebody in their corner. Yeah. Absolutely. So those are a couple of the things that, you know, getting into this business really does for us. The other one that you touched upon too was just the idea of the independence it's given us, right? I mean, you know, you got into your last career because it gave you that flexibility to be there at a really important time for your mom. You know, I lost my dad when I was still in college, and luckily I was acting at the time, but my schedule too was a lot more flexible than it became once I graduated. And but being able to be there for our families, whether it's on that side of things or whether it's a positive thing. Like for me, one of the reasons why I got into the business was I was starting to miss out on my kids playing t-ball and basketball, and because I was working all the time. And so I wanted the flexibility so that I didn't have to miss a game. And this career has allowed me to do that.
Yeah, I've had the good, the bad, and the great, happen. You know, this business is allowing me to attend my granddaughter's basketball games. You know, for those of you who have children, it seems like they're with you for a while when they're younger, but before you know it, in the blink of an eye, they're in high school. Yeah. And you only have a few short years left with them before they leave the nest. And so it's important to me to attend my granddaughter's basketball games. So I'm very fortunate for the time freedom that this business provides. But then on the opposite side of that, just a couple of years ago, it'll be 3 years in May that my husband passed away. And my clients were there for me to help me get through the experience. Right. And I continue to rely on serving my clients as a way for me to heal. I don't know if I've ever really grieved, but I grieve by helping others because when I'm living my life from a servant's heart, it's allowing me to heal mine.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's such an important part of the grief process, and just putting things into perspective and being able to move on and always remember and honor, but know that there's so much more still ahead.
Yeah, he was going to actually retire to work alongside me. So now he works with me every day because I changed my business logo to include him. Yeah. So I have a red cardinal on my logo, and my mother's awesome. There too. I have purple in my logo to represent pancreatic cancer. So it's been a nice journey where I've evolved my family and intertwined my family into my business by having them be a part of it in my logo.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Our brands and our identity as a business really reflect who we are as people. I put a lot of effort into just establishing my core values for my business. And I went through a whole process of figuring out what that was just as guiding principles so that when I'm making these decisions, I have something to fall back on. And I took the time to share it with my family and my boys too, because I wanted them to understand how important those things are in this endeavor to try and make a living, to give my family the life that I want to provide. It's not all about money. It's about a lot of things. And being of service to your community and helping to make the world a better place is a big part of it.
Well, hats off to you for being a positive role model.
and to you as well. One of the funny things I used to do with my kids is, we have the annual enrollment period every year. So for people that aren't aware of what this is like, I mean, we're working crazy hours during that time of year, and we don't get to see our families a lot during those few, 7 weeks. And when my kids were young and I was working in the business, I wanted them to understand why I wasn't able to be there at a lot of things just during that short period of time. So I would pull out, Legos or rolled coins or quarters, and I would show them kind of what my compensation is throughout the year based on how many of the bricks or the rolls of quarters were. And it showed, visually that these 7 weeks is the most important time frame. And so they were able to understand it. They kind of got it. And so they became a part of my business and my business planning at a very young age.
Wow, that's fantastic. Great visual.
Yeah, it was important to me that they understand that as well. Yeah. So that's great. I mean, I think, you and I, we got started independently. I was working for insurance companies first when I started in Medicare, but then when I went independent, you were there. You were with Tracy and Chris already, right? You had already.
Yes.
And so you and I have our trajectory really started together and kind of grew from there. And it's been great to see all of the success. What are some of the things that you enjoy most about what you do that we haven't touched on yet?
I love working from home. I get asked all the time, do you have a retail store or brick and mortar? I don't. If anything, COVID proved you don't need that type of situation. And I'm a face-to-face type of agent, so I go and meet the people where they're at. Yeah. So most clients want me in their house, so they'll invite me into their home, or I'll meet in a mutual spot, whether it be a local coffee shop or a local diner. So I don't really need to have that brick and mortar. Maybe one day, I won't say never, but maybe one day I will. But right now, I don't need that overhead. Yeah. I would rather invest that money into client events and marketing and stuff like that. So I don't need to sit behind a desk and wait for people to come to me. I go out and see the people. Yeah,
I'm the same way. I agree with you there. I had such a great opportunity with Nutmeg Advisory Group helping me to get on my feet when I first started. So I did have access to an office right away. And then I've grown with them. I've taken on the expenses and things like that. We're actually in a new space today for the podcast. So we've toyed with a couple of different things. We're moving back upstairs in our building, and now this room is a dedicated space. So it's a little barren behind us. We're going to start to upgrade this. Our theme for this season is to kind of upgrade, upgrade our life. And so we're trying to share things with people about how they upgrade theirs. How do we upgrade ours? The cameras were new to us this year. And, but as a business owner, one of the things that I always kind of struggle with is just looking at opportunities and looking at expenses. Where do you spend money? What should you be doing? I didn't go to business school. I've been just kind of learning on my own and from friends like you and Tracy and Chris. But what are some of the challenges that you have in your day-to-day, and how do you overcome those?
The biggest challenge is time management, even though like I have great systems in place. I'm super organized.
Yeah, you
I've
are.
always
Yeah.
been. I don't know. It's just how I'm wired.
Sure.
I'm super organized, but it's boundaries as far as your time is concerned. So what I mean by that is, I made the mistake of having my personal cell phone be my business phone.
Yeah.
And I did try to get another phone, but to carry two phones all the time was just ridiculous. So I'm like, forget that phone. And so I still am using that personal phone as my business phone. However, I will get calls. I try to work Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. I will always get calls after 5. I get calls on the weekends. Like someone just called me 8 o'clock yesterday morning on a Sunday. Excuse me. And the texting, unfortunately, and if anyone out there listening, or maybe, David, you have the next techie idea, I need to come up with a way when you have a certain brand of cell phone and when someone texts you, there's no auto responder on the text side to let you know you're not available. And unfortunately, we live in such a high touch world where people want instant gratification yesterday.
Of course, yeah.
So if they send you a text, they expect a response. So I was just on vacation for the last 10 days. And honestly, it felt like I never went away.
Yeah, gotcha. That's tough.
And it's tough.
Yeah.
But I also have to tell myself, when you are the people that we serve are seniors who are most likely retired. Every day is a Monday to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't get upset. I can only control what I can control.
Of course.
And I can control when I return a call. So yeah, you can call me after hours. I can't get upset. I just have to be like, I will return that call, that text the next business day. Because again, in their world, every day is a Monday.
Of course. Yeah.
So I can only control that.
Yeah, that's a challenge for me as well, because I started out with my personal cell phone, same as you. A lot of my clients, that's what they use. The texting is, I think, the biggest challenge, because it is, you don't have to pick up the phone. You can return the call when you're available. You can set the outgoing voicemail to manage expectations in that way. But yeah, it is a challenge for sure. We'll have to put our heads together on that
We
one.
do. We have to come up with that next invention. I'm telling you.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and I think for anyone listening, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I need to have this, that, or the other thing to get started. No, you don't. You spend a couple $100s to get your insurance license.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, our overhead is so minimal. I'm at the point, and I'm blessed that I need to look for legitimate ones. I need to find business expenses because, and that's a good problem to have, right?
It definitely is.
It's a first world problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, our overhead is so minimal as far as what you need and what you have to get started in this industry.
You
don't need a lot.
No, you're absolutely
a cell
right.
phone and a computer. I laugh about it because during the enrollment period, there's been plenty of times where I'm sitting in some retail parking lot in my car with my laptop and my phone. And here I am making a great living, literally out of my car on a laptop.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, there's not a whole lot there's not much of a barrier to getting started in this business financially, because there's really, the investment you need to make to get started isn't that large.
Right.
What you do need, I think, is you need to want to do it. There has to be a desire. There has to be a reason for you to want to do it. And you have to be willing to work hard, because we do work very hard.
We do.
So I think that's the most important thing. This is not, this business is not for somebody who wants to get rich quick. I tell people, you can get rich in this business, but it's going to be slow and steady if you're doing it right. Because the first thing you need is you need to learn what the business is. You need to learn about Medicare. You need to become an expert. And I think you and I both are able to help our agents, because now we have this downline of agents as we're building out our agencies. We help to train them. We help to make sure that they get started and help them to fish for themselves and find those opportunities and really build their own business as an independent insurance professional. And I think that's what's exciting about it.
And you mentioned, you can't get into any type of career because of the money.
No.
Because it's not the money that motivates people. It's the reason behind the money
exactly
that motivates people.
Yeah.
So if you want to help others and, have that servant's heart, there's so many industries now that I could think of that have that type of, that heart, whether it be medical professionals, teachers, anyone that gives of service to others. This is a great career to take a look at for them.
It definitely is. And that's not to say that you also don't want to have those motivating factors for yourself, those goals that you want to hit, whether it's,
correct.
I want to be able to afford a new car. I want to, be able to afford a home or provide school to my kids, all of those things. Like those are valid goals and reasons to get into the business as well. And they help to keep you motivated and keep doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Yes, you can do this part-time. You might have a little bit of a
we've
challenge.
had some friends do that.
But we have, I know a lot of people who are in this space part-time. They have full-time jobs. And I have a agent on my team who's a nurse, and, he decided to do this alongside. And now he's built up his business where he gets to walk away from his career.
Right.
Like who can say that? And that was his motivation. He wants to be there for his family. And he doesn't want to keep working, 12, 14-hour shifts, working weekends, missing out on his daughter's life.
Right.
So there's enough reasons out there to have it be motivating to want to do something with this and make it your own.
Definitely. Yeah, I think back to 5 years ago when I went independent. I had been in the business for 5 years, working for a couple of the insurance companies and really enjoying what I did, but realizing that I didn't want my fate tied to a corporation. And I did want that independence, and I wanted that ability to kind of own my own business. But it was the scariest decision I made, I think, because I had 2 little kids and my wife. And, I wanted to make sure I was able to provide for them. And that's the hardest part, I think, is kind of taking that leap of faith and going into it for yourself. So we know a lot of people who get started part-time. They'll do it on the side. They'll build up enough of a business so that initial leap isn't as scary. But it is, whichever way you go, it's very possible to do. Like this is, we've blazed the path, right? Like we can teach people how to do this. Absolutely.
And that's why it's important to me to be a part of a great team, not just to have you as a partner, but even our upline. We share ideas, and I don't need to know the answer, but I know where to find the answer.
Exactly.
And we are just part of a great upline who's paved the way for us to want to follow. And it's been a wonderful journey.
Yeah, that's really important. Having that support, I think, is really important. And what our friends Tracy and Chris have done with senior insurance consultants in creating a culture of agents that really are willing to help each other and to do, answer the phone and answer questions. I probably never would have gotten through everything if I didn't have people to call when I was in my first few appointments, because you can't know everything. But like you said, all you really need to know is where to find the answer. You don't need to know the answer on the spot. Let your client know, listen, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to find it out for you.
And that goes back to the whole, yes, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And I remember going on car rides with Tracy and going on appointments with her. And that's how you learn,
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great to be a part of a business, not just my own, but Tracy's and yours, where we provide the resources for our team.
Right.
We can teach you everything to be successful. However, you have to do the work.
You have to do it for yourself.
And even the agents on my team, like I'll tell them, I'll teach you how to fish, but I'm not doing the fishing for you.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah, it has to come from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to come with the motivation. We'll teach you the rest.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this event that we're doing, again, for the people that are out there, so if you have a health and life insurance, if you're already licensed, then this is a great thing to come out and learn some information how we've built our businesses. If you're not already licensed, you're looking for a career change, you just want to understand the opportunity, this is a great event to come to, and you'll be able to meet and talk directly with Jessie and I, and we'll be able to give you the background on how we built our agencies and what the opportunities are that exist out there. So when are we doing this again?
It's Wednesday, April. Can you believe it's almost April?
I can't. No, it's
like
wild.
I was listening to the radio the other day, and they said a quarter of the year is already gone. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know. It's so scary. And I'm hoping that today it's raining out there. I'm hoping we're not going to have a really rainy spring because I want to be out on the baseball field as much as possible.
I know. And the people that we work with, David, they they have the funniest jokes. And this one client said, life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. And I'm like,
that's
quite profound.
Very true. Yeah. Wow. I haven't heard that one yet.
Yes. They are definitely a wealth of knowledge, those storytellers.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. It's really great to connect with people in that community because they have so many experiences.
Oh my gosh. Our seniors are full of, there are storyteller seniors and the
absolutely.
stories that they tell and the history. Like one of my oldest client's 97 years young. The next one is 94 and he served in the Korean War.
That's amazing.
And I just love to go hang out with him at where he lives. And he just tells me stories. And it's just nice to have those stories.
Yeah, it really is.
And I really wish, my wish for everyone listening is take the time to be with your family and listen to the stories. My parents are gone. My husband's gone. I don't have those people to get the stories from anymore.
Yeah.
So until, it becomes too late, sit and take the time to listen to your own family and others to hear about the past. Unfortunately, we live in a time where they want to erase the past.
Yeah.
And I'm not making this political.
No.
But, life is all about evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Those stories are there to teach you lessons, whether it be something you want to repeat or not. But it's all about teaching and sharing those stories to learn from.
I agree. You want to capture them too.
Absolutely.
I know I can remember sitting by my dad's hospital bed and just asking him about his life and taking notes in my journal. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, now years later, when I go back to those notes, it's not enough. Like it's not extensive enough. I didn't write down the details. And this year, Jason and I put together a little Christmas present for my family where we had my mom and my aunt come onto this podcast. We did like a special family episode.
I remember seeing that.
So we recorded the stories because the two of them grew up together in New Haven and then they raised their families together. We grew up kind of side by side, very close. And so we got to capture some of those stories because you're right. Like that's really important to do. And so I would definitely recommend people do that. Listen to those stories, try and write them down or record them. Because there's so much out there, so much experience that is worth saving and sharing and passing on.
And then to take that one step further, having gone through what I've gone through, you never know when your expiration date hits.
Right. True.
And so the best thing my husband and I ever did was we invested in this book on, the big online distributor. It's a book called I'm Dead, Now What? And I know the title's a little morbid. I get it. But the reality is none of us are getting out of this alive. And for whatever reason, it's a subject nobody ever wants to talk about.
That's very true.
And so my husband and I had invested in this book, and the book is all about your personal information from your passwords to your computer password, your cell phone password, bank account information, medical information, where were you born, who are your siblings, your family. So when, unfortunately, he did pass unexpectedly.
Yeah, of course.
I had all that information, which completely took the stress away.
Yeah.
Because when you do have an unexpected death in your family, and now you have less than 24 to 48 hours to produce information for an obituary, you're not in the right frame of mind to come up with that information. And the last thing you want to do is look back at, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. I should have said that. Don't should all over yourself. So
should all over yourself.
You don't want to should all over yourself. So just take the time to document all that information now, because it's so, so important. I have two friends in their 40s who just lost their husbands unexpectedly. Wow. One is 49. So, you don't know how much time you have.
Yeah, that's very true.
So just document.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think that's part of what we do in our role as well is, I don't know about you, but I try to hook people up with an elder care attorney if they need it, or with any of those resources that they need so that they are prepared when the time comes for anything, whether it's illness, death, or on the other side of it too, like planning so that you can really enjoy your retirement years. making sure you have enough money to live in the way that you want to live, and all of those things. The more we plan for it, then the more prepared we are, and the easier things are when we hit those really stressful times. And that's important. We get to do that in our role, which is really nice.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, it's so much more than Medicare. It's really just being there for people, protecting people. It just being, I hate to say this word, but the widow. I've been there to help other newer widows get through their experience. And so it's been, again, helping me grieve by helping others. It's been, that part has been a gratifying journey.
I bet. Yeah. That's great for you to be doing that, for sure. So it's been quite a journey already, and I'm really looking forward to you and I continuing to grow and to get out there and help more people, bring on more agents. And so this event that we're doing on April 9th is at Viron Rondo in Cheshire, Connecticut. And there is a phone number you can call if anyone out there would like to RSVP and come and see us. You can call 888-531-2367. And you can RSVP for this event. Come on out, have some appetizers and a few drinks. Listen to what Jesse and I have to say. There's a whole lot more information that we'll be able to share that evening, just about what the path looks like, what that career opportunity is like. Before I get to the final question of the podcast, anything I missed or that you wanted to share that I think I might have glossed over?
I always have a lot to share.
Well, you can
we
share
can say
away.
that for another day.
Okay.
But no, I hope someone out there who's listening is curious enough to come and see what this is all about. And I don't know, with the way of the world that it is right now, there's so much uncertainty. I don't know about you, Dave, but I don't like uncertainty. And I get asked all the time, like every client I see, what's happening with Social Security or Medicare. I'm like, listen, I don't have an inside track as to what's happening. I don't have a crystal ball, but all I know is that I promise to help you get through it, whatever happens down the road, good, bad, or ugly. I don't know, but I'll be there for you and we'll get through it together.
Yeah, I tell a lot of people when they have those questions and they're worried about all of the things they're hearing in the news and the things that are happening in the world, I tell them that my business is change. It's going to constantly change. The rules are going to change. The industry is going to change. And we're going to be here to adapt with it. And we're going to help you to kind of navigate it.
And I've always said the only person who likes change is a baby. So it's true. I mean, life is all about change.
It is.
I mean, how much have my own personal journey that I've changed? I've evolved.
Of course.
And, we're just in it together.
Yeah, absolutely.
My only advice is just don't watch TV.
Right.
Be careful what you're putting in your brain.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely. So the last question then, before I let you go.
Oh, really? It's almost over?
I know.
Been
we
fun.
could do this for a while, but we have so much to move on to too. So the last question of every podcast episode is to our guests to just share something that they do in their personal lives that helps to impact their health in a positive way. And that could be physical, emotional, or financial health, just some type of a practice you can share with our audience.
The first thing in my head that popped up was get a dog, but no, that's responsibility.
I agree with that.
I know. I love my dog. Yeah. He's my best friend. And sadly, my dog was a litter of 6 puppies and his brother just passed away this weekend.
Oh, that's too bad.
So I'm devastated. That hit my heart so hard. I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for this yet.
No, I know. And he's like your partner, right? You take him on the road with you?
He goes with me everywhere. Yeah. He had actually received more Christmas cards than I did this year.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. He gets requests all the time for his presence at my appointments.
Nice.
I'm like, Chance, who's the agent here? But no, on a serious note, I try really, really, really hard to have Sundays be my day of rest. That is a thing.
Yeah.
That's what we grew up with in whatever religion you follow. Sunday was supposed to be a day of rest. And my favorite store is Hobby Lobby. So if Hobby Lobby is closed, then I need to be off.
Right. Yeah.
My world will come crashing down. But no, I do try to keep Sunday as my day of rest to protect myself. And rest That's as important. I'm not a TV watcher. I couldn't tell you what's going on in the world. I do not watch TV. Mm-hmm. I'll go outside, go for a walk. My newest hobby is I love looking at birds. Yes, I've reached that point in life. It's all about birds, but they just bring me so much joy. There's so much beauty around us. Just stop and take it all in.
That's great advice. I love that. And I also love Hobby Lobby. So I get that. Yeah.
I knew you were my work brother for a reason.
I know. My wife makes fun of me.
Road trip.
Yeah. Well, that's great advice. I think that's important. Sunday's always been something for me as well. Like even during AAP, I will work on Sunday, but I don't go on appointments on Sunday during AAP, because if I do, I find that I get completely burned out and then I'm no good to anyone. So I just need that day of not having to be on the road. So yeah, that's great advice. So I want to thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Thank you for having me.
This has been a lot of fun. I think we'll probably do this again. Maybe we'll come up with some actual Medicare content that you and I can talk about and share with people, because it is important. And I know you do such a fantastic job educating your clients and supporting them through their journey. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for being here today. I'm looking forward to April 9th. So again, for everybody that's out there, if you'd like to join us at Viron Rondo in Cheshire, Connecticut, 6 p.m. on April 9th. We will be there. You can call 888-531-2367 to RSVP, and we hope to see you there if you're looking for a career path or some information on this opportunity. So thank you all. That's another wrap on this episode of Sounds of Health, brought to you by Nutmeg Insurance Advisors and recorded at the office of Nutmeg Advisory Group. As always, I'm your host, Dave MacNiven, and a big thanks to our producer, Jason Carubia, and for the amazing music by Rob Hames. Every week, we bring you the stories that inspire, empower, and help you to upgrade your health. If you enjoy this show, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave us a review. We love hearing from you, and we hope that you continue as an important part of our wellness community. Thanks for listening.